What's up guys, welcome to the Swift Uplift tutorial series. Obviously you guys are here to learn something new, so today we're going to be diving into Maxon's Cinema 4D. This tutorial is going to be really great for those of you who are 3D artists wanting to add Cinema 4D to your skill set. These tips and tricks are stuff that I wish I knew when I was hopping into my first project. So no more chit chat, let's get right to it. Okay, so tip number 1, how to set your camera to be object centric. And the way to do that is to go to Cameras, Navigation, and switch from Center Mode to Object Mode. And basically, when you select an object, this allows your camera to start tumbling around it and really allow you to focus on what you're working on. Tip number 2, undoing your camera move. So this tip is really useful for when you're setting up your shot with a camera in Cinema 4D. So let's say you've got your shot, let's say that this is pretty good. This is the composition I want. Okay, I want to start modeling on my box. I'm going to hold Alt and start clicking. And then I realize, oh shoot, I'm in my camera. I got to reset my shot. So in order to do that, it's very easy. All you have to do is hold Control, Shift, and tap Z, and it will undo your camera move. This is very useful if you really love that shot. It allows you to go back to it. Now, what I recommend doing now to avoid that problem in the future, and this is tip number 3, is adding a protection tag. So how do you do that? Well, select your camera in the hierarchy and go to Tags, Cinema 4D Tags, and scroll down to Protection. Once you do that, it'll pop up a symbol in line with your camera object. From there, you won't be able to change the orientation or position, scale, etc. of your camera. So tip number 4, switching your rotation axes to rotation bands. As an XMAIA user, when I switched the rotation tool here, I was expecting to see rotation bands to begin with. So how do you switch it? It's very easy. All you have to do is hold Shift, press V, and this active objects section will pop up. From there you scroll down, and on the left hand side you'll see rotation bands. Go ahead and click that checkbox, and there you go. Your rotation tool has now become rotation bands. And this is actually something I'm more familiar with. If you guys want to learn how to switch to a rotation band, that's how you do it. So let's go ahead and start talking about some modeling tips in Cinema 4D. What's really nice is that once you import a primitive object, you'll notice that there are these orange handles on the axes that come with the object. These allow you to change the dimensions of your object and allow you to focus on blocking things out, getting things in the right place. Let's say, for example, I know I want a couple cubes here. One that's a little shorter, maybe a little thinner, and then let's say it's pushed back a little bit, and let's say it's behind here. Surprise tip, in order to duplicate objects so you're not constantly clicking that cube button, all you have to do is hold Control, and you'll notice by your mouse you'll have these duplicated square symbol, and from there all you do is click and drag from one of the axes and it'll leave an original and duplicate a copy. So if you want to add a couple cubes, again, you just hold Control, click and drag. So duplicating your objects in Cinema 4D also works with your rotation tool. If you switch to your rotation tool, hold Control, and click and drag one of the axes, it'll again leave the original and create a duplicate. So it's really, really useful to quickly populate your scene with multiple objects. Right here, I'll give you guys another tip. If you want to snap to different objects in your scene, all you have to do is select the object you want to snap to and press the S key to snap your camera to it. This is a really easy way to navigate your scene, work on different objects every now and then, and it allows you to keep moving. So again, what's really great about these orange handles is that it allows you to affect the basic properties of your 3D models and allow you to just focus on blocking and focus on your composition before getting into the nitty-gritty stuff of your components like vertices, edges, and faces. So speaking of which, let's go ahead and start talking about working with the components of your 3D models in Cinema 4D. In order to do that, all you have to do is make your object editable. Let's go ahead and make one of these cubes editable. Well, real quick, I know I'm going to need some more edges on this cube, so surprise tip, if you look onto the right side of your window after you've selected an object, you'll see that there's a list of options for your segments in the X, Y, and Z direction. Currently they're all set to 1, but I'm going to go ahead and set my X to 3, my Z to 3, and my Y to 3. Now as you can see, just by changing that, it's affected my object's basic properties by adding edges to it. So basically, we're just adding some more options for us so we have more to work with once we've made this an editable object. So there are two ways to make your object editable in Cinema 4D. You can either press the C key, or you can press the button here in the upper left-hand corner called Make Editable. Doing either or will switch your object into editable mode, and you can tell based on the fact that there are no more orange handles on your axes. Once your object is editable, you can select either the points, edges, or polygon tool on the left-hand side of your screen. So now that my object is editable, I'm going to go ahead and select the polygon tool and move these three faces to make the silhouette of this object different from the rest in the scene. So again, this is why Cinema 4D is great, because you start out blocking with the orange handles, and then once everything is set, then you get into deeper modeling by entering component mode. At this stage, you can move the vertices, the edges, the faces, and you can really make your 3D models unique. Okay, there's a little barn house. So the next tip I have for you guys is switching your axes from world orientation to object orientation. So let's say, for example, I want to move this edge. As you can see, my axis is no longer perfectly straight in accordance to the scene. For example, my Y isn't straight up and down, it's actually at an angle. To change this, all you have to do is go to this upper list of buttons again, where it says X, Y, and Z, and to the right of the Z button is a coordinate system button. When you click that, that switches your axis to be either focused on the world's orientation or your selected object's orientation. So the next tip I have for you guys is that whenever you're done working in component mode for one object, you have to make sure that on the left-hand side you've selected the model mode in order to jump to another object. You have to select the model mode button to jump between shapes. So the next tip I'm going to show you guys is how to change the pivot point of your 3D model. So the first thing you got to do is make sure that your 3D model is in editable mode. From there, all you have to do to change the pivot point of your 3D model is to look on the left hand side of your window, and above the mouse tweak button you'll see Enable Axis. Once you have that button enabled, you are now able to move your pivot point to whatever position you'd like. From here, don't forget to disable the Enable Axis button in order to lock the pivot point in place. Now, as you can see, when I press the rotation tool button, I'm able to rotate my door around that pivot point. So there you go. That's how you change your pivot point. So the last thing we're going to talk about today is how to make extrudes and inner extrudes with specific faces on your 3D models. So in order to extrude faces in Cinema 4D, it's very easy. All you have to do is make sure your object's editable, go into polygon mode, select the face you want to extrude, let's say these three, and to extrude, all you have to do is press and hold the D key and drag your faces up or down, left or right. Now let's say you want to inner extrude. In order to inner extrude, all you have to do is hold the I key, again click the face and drag in or out, and it's that simple. So again, I'm holding the D key and dragging these faces up, I'm holding the I key and dragging in, holding the D key and dragging up, holding the I key and dragging in, etc. Now to extrude inwards, I'm going to go ahead and hold the D key and drag down. So by using the D key and the I key, you're able to make some really interesting shapes very easily from your base 3D model. So from here, I'm going to hold the I key, drag in, hold the D key, drag out, hold the I key, drag out, hold the D key, drag forward, and there you go. As you can see, you can make some really interesting silhouettes with just the D key and the I key. I'm going to leave you guys with one more tip to kind of open the door for you guys to experiment and have fun with your models in Cinema 4D. So in case if you're ever looking for a tool in Cinema 4D with regards to modeling, all you have to do is press the M key and then look on the list to see where the next tool is. So let's say I want to use the Bevel tool. It says S, so I'm going to press S. So now I'm going to go ahead and click and drag this face so I can bevel this guy. So let's say I want to bevel this guy now. Now I can bevel it easily like that. Well, alright, that pretty much wraps up today's tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Also, if you guys are interested in supporting us on Patreon, we do have some really awesome rewards for you guys that include behind the scenes videos, private Q&As, live streaming access, and other awesome things like that. If you guys would like to support the channel further, you can find that link in the description down below. Thank you guys so much again for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it was the swift uplift you guys needed to get to work on your projects. That's another video down. I'll see you guys in the next one.